My name is Kris Gethin, and what I aim to bring to you is inspiration, motivation from clients, everything that will allow you to evolve as a human being. Hello, everybody. This is Kris Gethin, and this is another episode of the Kris Gethin podcast. We have another awesome client spotlight for you today. This gentleman, over a 6-month period when working with me, dropped like 60 pounds. Not only that, you'll get to hear what he had to navigate in life in order to go through this transformation. We see these before and after pictures. We get wowed by them. But what about the story? What about the struggle? You know, everybody thinks that someone else has an easier way of doing things. No, we all go through struggles. So you're going to hear Dan's story today. Welcome to the show, Dan. Thank you for giving us your time here.
All right. Thank you, Kris, for having me on. Excited and can't wait to chat about it.
So I'm going to start off by showing your pictures here. Okay, so here's the before where it was like 266.
Yeah.
There, that's better. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Look at that. Holy moly.
Then we got the side shot. Whoo.
Yeah, man.
Then we have the after picture there, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Check it out.
Yeah, so like you had a big belly, you know, no offense in the beginning, and you got a six-pack. What is more noticeable to me, though, when I go back to that picture, look at Dan in the face. That's Dan in the face in the beginning. And then look at you after. You look so much younger there.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of people commented that they could see it right away in my face, you know. Like that was the very first thing was the face. And it's so just,
do people mention that you look younger now?
Oh, yeah. Yep. A couple of the engineers I work with were wondering how old I was. And then, you know, some of the postings I would post on social media, I'd get comments like, holy crap, man, you chopped 10 years off your life, off your age, you know, and I just thought, wow, that's cool. You know, I feel younger, feel great, felt great, still do.
That's awesome. That's really good. Now, one of the things that you wanted to achieve, and you can tell us a little bit about this, and you'd attempted it once, was climb Mount Hood.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that story.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in a small town in northwestern part of Illinois, where it's all rolling hills and cornfields. We didn't have big mountains, right? So moved out to Arizona in 2007. And of course, it's mountainous all over here. And I'm just staring at the mountains just like all the time, right? I remember. So we lived here for a while, and then we moved up to Idaho, southeast Idaho, for a couple of years. My wife had an opportunity up there. And so we moved up there, and it's mountainous up there too, right? So I got to see the Tetons. I got to see all these mountains, right? And I'm just looking at them like, man, it would be cool as heck to climb them things. I don't know. I'm just compelled to get to the top, right? So I reached out to a buddy of mine who is living up in Washington State. We got to talking, and we're like, hey, man, let's go do a mountain, you know, and yada, yada. And we picked Mount Hood. This was in 2012 or 2013. I can't remember which, but, you know, I had trained a little bit in the gym, just kind of went with the flow. I didn't have like a structured program. My nutrition was all over the place. And so here I am in the gym, you know, I'm working my butt off, you know, and thinking I'm ready to go. And I got there, and I was just blown away by the Cascade Mountains just as a whole. And you know, here's this Mount Hood right in front of me, and I'm looking at it like, holy shit, man, like, dang, man, like we're going to climb this thing, you know? So my buddy, he was in a lot better conditioning for climbing mountains than I was at the time. So plus he lives up there, so he's been on these mountains before. He hadn't summited Mount Hood, but we get situated, and then, you know, we started climbing early in the morning. I'm talking early, like 12:30 a.m., you know, so it's dark, right? And you're just going through the snow and up the mountain. And then eventually we got to about 9,300 feet, and I had noticed my legs were cramping up, you know, and it was increasing, right? So I'd have to stop and kind of work them out a little bit. But then it got to a point where I couldn't continue anymore. I couldn't move an inch without getting a cramp in either leg. It was it was awful and I felt bad. And, we just kind of made the decision that we're going to have to abandon this and try again sometime in the future. And I felt like shit, dude. I felt like shit. I silently teared up on the way down and just was like defeated. Like, oh man, I wanted to get to this top of the summit and it didn't happen. And I felt like I wasted my time. I felt like I wasted my friend's time. I drove over there, spent all this money, and it was great to see him and all that. I haven't seen him since high school and whatnot. But at the same time, I felt like I failed big time and it affected me.
I'm sure that was, one of the tipping points for you to actually start the training. Let's fast forward some years then to when you actually attempted it again for the second time. Let us know when you did that and how much more confident did you feel that you would be able to hit it this time? Did you have any doubts?
No, maybe a little bit of doubt, but it was June 18th of last year, 2021. I went there and we had already worked through the program and I knew just working with you that it was going to be a success. I had to put in that work and this was a goal, like all the stars aligned for me to just be able to get up there, to be able to work with you, to be able to put in the work in the gym, for me to get there and look and be like, okay, I know I am ready. I have done everything that I can. I was like stoked, man, through the roof just to get there and see the mountain again. And I thought, all right, it was like a one-on-one, like, okay, motherfucker, we're going now. We're getting ready to dance. This is it, man. This is my battle. It was awesome, dude. I felt my confidence was through the roof. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but I knew that I had all my supplements with me. I had my nutrition on point. Everything was flowing in the right direction. So I was well prepared.
Was it a struggle? Was the second attempt a struggle at all?
Yeah, my legs felt great all the way up. What I noticed was I would get winded, right? But I would keep pushing myself. Eventually I was like, I just got to stop and take a break. This isn't a race, even though I am kind of on a time crunch. I'm getting to the top. So just take a break, breathe, get something to drink, whatever. I brought all kinds of shit with me because you start out early in the morning. It's dark. So when you're heading up the mountain, you can start to see the early morning sunshine coming up, illuminating the top of the mountain and the rock formations. And you're just like, okay, I can see that shit now. And then the big rock in the middle, they call it crater. I could see it. And I thought, okay, man, I'm like close. I recognize this now. I'm closer than what I was the last time I remember. I don't remember it being that big. So I'm close, right? I started getting excited and I was like, okay, we're on the right track. My legs felt great. No cramps at all throughout the whole climb.
How long does it take roughly? You're starting first thing in the morning and you're trying to get back before it gets dark, I assume.
Yeah, so I was on the summit about 8 o'clock in the morning. I hit the trailhead, I want to say 1 o'clock, maybe 1:15 in the morning. There was people ahead of me, but there was a lot of headlamps behind me. It was like I knew I had a good jump on the crowd. It was about 8 o'clock. I think I was up on top of the summit.
Oh, so you're back by midday.
Yeah, right. Some people get up there and they snowboard down. I mean, you're a snowboarder. You'd love that shit. I was so like, oh my God, man, they're going to be down there in like 10 minutes. And here I got like this 2-hour freaking downhill hike still to go. It's like, damn, I need to learn how to snowboard or ski or something.
Yeah, because I assume there's snow up there pretty much most of the year, I guess, because like I noticed this is in June and these are the pictures that you sent me. That's it. Perfect.
Yep.
So you made it, but you see there's snow there in June, a lot of snow.
Up on the summit, well, the whole mountain is snow covered, really. I mean, you can see it starting to melt off the rock formations, but the whole time I was on the path, it was all snow. It's slushy, wet, crystally snow. You're stepping in it and you'll go down 6 inches if you get into the right spot.
Yeah, I can see you're wearing spikes here.
Yep. When I got to Portland, I went to one of the local mountain shops. You can rent anything. I took a pair of boots up with me. In fact, they were the same boots I wore the first time. And in fact, that jacket I'm wearing on that summit was the same jacket I wore 10 years earlier almost on the mountain.
Good use of the second time.
Yeah, I still got it. But they'll have everything. I rented crampons and he said, hey, you're going to want these boots. And at first I was like, what, man? God damn it. But then I thought, okay, these guys know what they're doing. So I'm glad I did. I mean, it was good. It was good that he educated me on why and all that. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm sure that was a pivotal point in your life. So talk us through some of the setbacks that you'd had in life that put you in a position where you wanted to reach out in order to transform. Now, I know that you had back issues, you was on various types of medication. If you could kind of talk us through what led you to that point of, this is a pivotal point, I need to transform, I need help.
When I went to a small technical school after high school, and I'm a CAD designer by trade, mechanical civil. So that's what I was studying and whatnot. I had an incident happen in one of my classes where we wrote a paper and we had to switch with someone and go up in front of the class and read this paper. And that moment, I was in a panic. My anxiety level was through the roof. Back then, this was 96, 97. And, not a lot of talk about anxiety yet, really, that I had heard. And I didn't know what it was. I had this overwhelming sensation of just panic and fear, right? So I got through that. It was awful. Little did I know, Kris, the impact that moment had on my life. After that, I would avoid social gatherings. I would avoid, unless I was under the influence, right? So, I was self-medicating to take away the anxiety and relax. I would avoid all kinds of things like that. I avoided further education because I thought there's no fucking way in hell I'm going through that again. I'm not going to go to any classroom anywhere again, ever. I'm just going to figure it out. I don't know what this is. And hindsight, if I could go back, now, knowing what I know now, I would have went and talked to someone and said, hey, something's not right here. I need some help, but I didn't. And this carried on for years. Years and years go by. I'm getting through it. I've been able to maintain. I've had good jobs and things like that. Went through some setbacks with employment and factories shut down here and there, but got married and had kids, and we bebopped around the country a little bit. Fast forward a few more years, we get back here to Arizona, and I'm always thinking about Mount Hood all these years. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get back up there and do that mountain again sometime, man. Get training again, get shredded, get the abs and rock and roll. And we get out here and we're living our life. And my dad and I never really had a typical father-son relationship. We got along great, but it wasn't your typical father-son deal. So I started to watch his health deteriorate rapidly, and he's gone now, but I thought to myself, the last time I saw him alive, I thought, whoa, man, I'm heading down that same route. I'm eating shit, thinking that I'm doing okay. I was that guy on the couch, Kris, that would have a pile of candy wrappers next to me at Halloween, especially raiding my kids' candy buckets. I would eat anything and everything and overindulge, right? So I was in horrible shape, and I thought, whoa, man, what am I doing, man? I thought about some of the other members of my family, like my mom, what she went through. Her dad was a war hero. He was on a battleship in World War II. He fought in all these wars. He was like a badass, right? He was a Golden Glove boxer. And, I'm thinking, I just had this realization, what am I doing, man? I'm not making these people proud. I know my mom's proud of me and whatnot, but they didn't go through hell for me to sit my ass on the couch and just waste away like my dad did. I thought, what the fuck am I doing, man? So this was before you had come out with your quarantine 15. Remember that? So started in September or whatever of that 2020 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This had all led up to that moment, and doing well financially. My kids are just bebopping around. They're great. My two daughters, they're just fantastic kids. My wife, she's great. Everything's going good, but I got this nagging goal out there. It's still there. You come out with your quarantine 15. I was like, what if I sign up for this, and then, I could use this and get going. Right. So I did. And one thing led to another. You started that, and the Facebook videos and everything. I was following along and all that. You and Sunshine in there rocking it in your gym or your garage, and then this is crazy because I was just telling my wife, I said, man, wouldn't it be cool to have Kris Gethin design a program for me to get to the top of Mount Hood? We were talking about that. She had been away at the time for work. So I was here with the kids, and I shit you not, man. Not 1 or 2 days later, you sent out an email, said, "Hey, I'm looking for 7 people." And, you explained your one-on-one program. And I was just like, whoa, man, this is crazy. And then I reached out to you, and then we corresponded and linked up that way. But over the years, I've just been going through my own personal growth, realizing what I was doing was just killing me. I mean, I was losing my health. I had aches and pains, my back pain, my shoulders. Man, knees, like rolling around in bed, all this stuff was really affecting me on a daily basis. I mean, it was that bad, and I thought about my dad, and then I had all these realizations, and I figured, dude, I got to do something. Like I said, like all the stars aligned, and I found you in your program, and boom.
And you mentioned that, obviously you had some of these setbacks, you had, loss in your life, you were dealing with a lot of injuries. Now you're dealing with like a food eating disorder. Well, we can call it that. It's not really a disorder, but that's what I like to term it. When we're eating products over foods. And you mentioned that you'd eat a lot of candy. Were you doing other things as well, like eating fast food or drinking alcohol? Was it the typical bad habits of the typical American diet? What were the excuses that were kind of holding you back from a nutritional standpoint? And I assume you weren't doing any activity, or were you training?
I've been in and out of the gym over the years. There was a time 5 years ago or so where I was in decent shape. I was training hard, steady. Had some muscle tone, but I still had body fat. My nutrition wasn't on point, although I know I was getting enough protein. In addition to the candy, yeah. When I was younger, I was pretty reckless with alcohol and things like that. But as I've gotten older and had kids and things, I mean, rarely drink anymore. Maybe a couple of beers here and there, but nowhere even close to what I used to do. And when you're young, you're wild, But we would order pizza. I would be able to put half the pizza away on my first plate. I mean, no problem. The stuffed crust pizzas and shit like that. No problem. Whole pizzas. Your typical fast food joint. I mean, the whole nine. I ate it like it was nothing, I mean, I just like to eat. I have this appetite, like, holy crap, man, and my sweet tooth, I'll compete with anyone out there with sweets, especially marshmallow peeps. Dude, if there is a peep eating contest, I mean, I guarantee you I'm in the top 3 in that. So it's like,
how do you overcome all these cravings then? Because there's a lot of people out there that will use the justification of, I've got a sweet tooth, I'm a foodie, dependent on that culture as well. They'll blame cultural design. How do you overcome all those cravings? Is it now the meal frequency? Like I noticed that you've got some Kage supplements there. Some people will rely upon, like having casein as a mousse or something like that. Or do you simply go, you know what? I'm stronger than that. I've written it in my journal. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk just to take my mind off it. What is your strategy now to completely pivot and overcome these cravings?
It's 2 things really, and you mentioned them both. It's mind power. I just finally said, hell with that, and then the meal frequency of especially the program. I was able to navigate through those cravings while on this one-on-one program. At times I was like, oh man, dang, man, pizza would look good. That'd be great right now. But like when we were on the quarantine 15 program, my birthday was during that program because my birthday's in October. I went my whole birthday with no cake, no cake, no nothing on that quarantine that during those 8 weeks. Right. I went through Christmas with no junk food that year. Of course, that was just prior to starting the one-on-one, but it's a combination of the meal frequency because I was able to eat. The meal program that you provided gave me enough food that, I felt satiated. I used a rice version of veggies and I was able to mix those in with the protein meats and things. I used those little techniques to get the veggies in there, that fiber in there. I was on a roll, man. By the time we got into the one-on-one program, I was good to go, man. I was on a roll. I had this goal, had this momentum going, and the cravings sort of just went away. I mean, we'll have snacks in the pantry and stuff. I was able to say no.
That's awesome. That's great to hear, because that's usually the hardest part, isn't it? People say, yeah, I can work out. It only takes like an hour, 5 days a week or whatever to go to the gym. But it's the nutrition that's 23 hours a day, preparing, eating, preventing the cravings, and navigating the social gatherings, which you definitely did on your own birthday and Christmas. And people will sometimes use that as an excuse, but it's my birthday, it's the kid's birthday, it's my wife's birthday, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. It's like, good God, you're always going to be struggling if you're going to give in to these social, quote unquote, social norms.
Yeah, there's so many of them. There's like, so many birthdays.
Pancake day.
Yeah, and then you got Christmas right there. And next week is, St. Patrick's Day. Get the, McDonald's shake with the whatever. And oh man, it's a trip, man.
Yeah, there's loads out there, and there's more that keep coming and keep coming. I'm like, wow, no wonder we're in the state that we are, especially
I know
with all these holidays, and not only do you have Christmas, you have like the Christmas parties associated with the work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they don't bring healthy food, right? It's all like goodies, man, and oh man. But you mentioned something there, like the country, right? Like, because I'm convinced sugar is killing everybody, right? Why is there so much sugar in everything? Like,
because it's addicting. It will make you go back and purchase that food.
Yeah. But
it shines up a bliss point in your brain, and it's been shown with rodent studies to be more addictive than heroin. They'll put heroin there for the rodents to consume. They'll put sugar. And after a while, the rodents keep going back to the sugar because it lights up their brain, that bliss point, which creates addiction. So the more that they put that in food, the more that you're going to be a consumer of that product. It's absolutely terrible. And, we've seen that sugar can feed a lot of issues like cancer cells, for instance. It'll absorb a sugar much like it'll absorb an antioxidant. However, we're not telling people to prevent cancer by having antioxidants. A lot of the time, we don't even bring that up. You could go to a hospital. I'm generalizing, obviously, but when you come out of some type of remission, you look at the menu on that hospital food menu, and there's a lot of sugar there. I'm like,
it's crazy.
Am I living in this reality? It's
a hospital, right?
Yeah, exactly. But there's a reason why we've seen things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer all go up. If we look at the statistics, it all goes up. We're seeing younger and younger people now have Alzheimer's, some form of mental dementia. Well, our DNA hasn't changed over the past 50 years. But our surroundings, our environment, our food system, our water system, our air is all changed, and unfortunately, we're becoming a culprit of that. There's more antibiotics that's going in the food. There's more sugars that's going into the products. There's more fast food joints. And we've just become a victim of it, unfortunately. So, having people's stories like yourself can actually show people there's a better way to this. Why should we shorten our lifespan or be, dependent on others as we get older? You've got kids now, that's a responsibility. Kids learn by observation. So you want them to observe somebody who's in good health, not somebody that's declining. We don't want that. So, I applaud you for making that move and that change. Quickly mention you had back issues.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Can you talk us about those back issues and how are your back problems now, by the way?
They're great now. I was telling Sunshine before he came on, I did recently aggravate my back injury, and this was probably right around Christmas time. Well, it was into January, first part of January. And Kris, of all the lifting I've done, I aggravated my back by picking up a 5-gallon bucket with a few tools in it. And I don't know if I was just turned the wrong way or whatever, but
probably, yeah.
Boom,
and the thing is, when we're in the gym, we're so focused and we're working our primary movers, but when we're picking up, we're probably thinking about what's for dinner.
Right. So I ended up aggravating it, and I hadn't aggravated it in a while, and it hurts. But how this came about was it's an old football injury. So I played football and basketball and baseball when I was a younger kid. In high school, I excelled more at football. Me and a buddy were at practice one day, and we were running one of those drills where you go head on. One's got the ball and the other's trying to tackle, and we just crunched each other. And I remember like laying there like, oh man, that hurt, right? So we ended up going to the chiropractor and all this. I should have probably had a specialist look at it. I didn't. I just fought through the pain. It hurt bad, really, really bad. I mean, back pain is no joke, man. I never had back pain before, and holy shit, man, this hurts. So it eventually healed up okay. I had a couple of aggravations in the basketball season that was after football where it was like, ooh, man, this is bad. This hurts. And then occasionally throughout the years, it would aggravate. But what the condition is it's called spondylolisthesis. And I have a vertebrae in my back. Sometimes your vertebrae can slip out of alignment, right? There's different categories. There's 25% slippage, 50%, 75%. I think there's even 100%. I'm in the first bracket, 25%. Thank God. I can't imagine what it's like worse than that. So I have this now. When I had my MRI done, I can't remember which vertebrae it is exactly. This is a while ago. When I was up in Idaho, I went to a specialist, had an MRI done. And when we were looking at the x-rays, he was like, hey man, you see this little line there? That's a hairline fracture in your vertebrae, right? So I had part of this vertebrae had grown and fused with the one above it. And somehow I had this hairline fracture present, right? It didn't affect me every moment of the day, but certain movements, I was a little bit overweight, and of course, tossing and turning in bed, I'd wake up. Occasionally, I'd aggravate it, moving something or picking something up or whatever, and just dealt with it. Right. So now I knew that I knew what was wrong. There's nothing that you can really do for it. I could have surgery for it, but what the doctor said was, Dan, if you have surgery on this, you're going to have back pain regardless. So, you're in the low bracket. What's worse, 6 on one hand, half dozen on the other. It's like, okay, whatever. This is manageable now. It's even better when I lose weight. I know, but I don't want to have surgery at this point. I was in my 30s, right? So I was like, I don't want to have back surgery right now if I really don't have to have it. I'd rather lose weight. If it's a problem, then we'll address it at that point. So then we went a few more years. So when I filled out the questionnaire for your program, I listed that and said, hey, so squats are real risky for me. I might be able to do the front one where you're holding on the front, right? In addition to having the barbell on the back, I can't like flex my arm around the bar, right? I'm like, I can't like do it without severe discomfort anyway. So I would have to do it on the front if I did them at all, but I avoid squats. I'll do every other inverted leg press, the hack squat machines, all of the leg press machines I'll use, but squats are real, and deadlifts too. I got to be real careful with deadlifts.
What we always hear, unfortunately, not from all doctors or specialists, that they say, look, you've got a back issue. Let's rest it, or have bed rest. Let's not move it. Let's not aggravate it. But you obviously worked out. And, that's what I generally suggest to most people dependent on that back injury or issue, is create some strength around that skeletal structure, around the spine, so you can take stress off the spine. So obviously, when you're at your heaviest weight, I'm assuming you've got bad back issues.
Yeah. I mean, especially like I said, moving around at night in bed, just rolling over or whatever, I'd wake up.
Because it's there constantly, throughout the day with that heavier weight, that extra 60 pounds, that's going to be compressing on your spine. Yeah. That's a lot of weight there. That's a lot of weight that you're having to hold up. So then you lose the weight, but you're working out at the same time. Like, did you go into the workouts thinking, like, I wonder if this is going to, worse, or is it going to get better? What was your thoughts, and how did it feel once you finished, throughout that 6 months?
It felt awesome. There were times when I would, especially leg day, because I have aggravated it when I'm using leg presses before. I don't know, for whatever reason, push too much weight or wrong angle or whatever the case may be. I'm always thinking about it when I'm doing legs. But I go through, I'm able to work out, I'm able to run, I'm able to do all activities. It's just randomly movements, and boom, I'll be like, ooh, oh, okay, yikes, But throughout your program, I had no back pain, no issues with aggravating the injury. I was able to do all of them except for squats and deadlifts pretty much, but I expressed that to you. I did not aggravate the injury at all, which I'm very thankful for. You know, I can still train in the gym hard. I can do the stair machine. I can hike vertical, you know.
That's
no
great.
problem. Yeah.
So that's something that people can learn from by listening to this. You know, if you do have an injury, of course, you need to see a specialist, but don't think that you have to be bedbound and you have to do nothing now because you have this injury. You can work around these injuries the majority of the time, and you can actually alleviate the symptoms of that injury through working out. Like a lot of the listeners may know that I got into working out because of, you know, major back injuries and a lordotic spine. So my spine is basically left aligned as well in my pelvis by about an inch. You know, from motocross, and I was bedbound through no choice there for a little while. I could hardly breathe. And then, you know, going through various types of rehab, you know, whether that be, you know, with massage therapists, chiropractors, osteopaths, nothing worked until I started doing resistance training through another form of rehab. And that's what alleviated the pain for me. And that's what got me into bodybuilding, because I felt not so, you know, a lot better physically, obviously, but mentally, because a lot of people don't really recognize how much an injury can get you down mentally. You can be short-tempered, you can be angry, you can be depressed, because you've got this subconscious pain there constantly nagging at you, you know?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Cause I mean, like just with this most recent aggravation of this injury of mine, man, I'm walking around the house just like I can't bend over. I can't, like, every minute of the day I'm this searing pain, and I'm like just sitting down. This is like, I gotta like really like, oh man, sit down like slow, you know? I mean, it was awful, dude. Yeah. It was bad. Yeah. So, but it took about a week for it to heal. Got right back to it.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, we know that you obviously had sleep issues as well, and associated with the back pain. What are your sleeping patterns now?
They're a little better. Sleep is always pretty much, I think, going to be an issue for me.
And is that because of work? Is it because of the kids? Is it because you get up so early?
It's a mixture of everything, really. Some willpower. If I flex some more willpower, I could probably dial it in a little better. But our day doesn't. You know, our kids go to bed at in the evening at a decent time, and you know it's late sometimes, and it's just like then that's when our free time kind of starts, you know, and it's already late, and, you know, and you got all this stuff to do. We got house, you know how it is. So it's like.
And what sort of hours are you working?
Nowadays, I work 10-hour days, but it's 4 days a week. That's my main schedule. There's some flexibility there now because I work from home. So put in a few hours on a Monday, because our kids have a longer commute to their school. They go to one of the best schools systems here in the Phoenix Valley. We live over here in Surprise, right? So they go to school in Deer Valley where my wife works. So they have a little bit of a commute. So I chip in and go pick them up at the end of the day. It's long commutes, it's work days. So I put in hours on Monday to kind of offset those times where I have to leave to go get them and come back. Then you get home, I still got to put in a couple hours or whatever. And then, you know, the regular nighttime activities go on. And, you know, now it's a little better. They're getting older. I like to get in the gym. I love that pre-workout. This new grape stuff is awesome. And sometimes I'm just like, it'll be 7:00 and I'll be like, do half a scoop or something. You know, I'm like, I got to get that kick, right? I get in there and crush it with it, and then of course afterwards I'm like wired a little bit, you know.
That's where your sleep issues come.
I know, man. Some of it's my doing. There are days where I get a little bit more sleep. My wife will tell you, especially on the weekends. But during the week, you know, it's okay. It's doable. There's been a few times, man, here recently where like it'll be 1:30 in the morning and I'm like wide awake in bed and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to the gym. And I've gotten up and gotten my ass into the gym at 2:00 in the morning. I'm sitting in there cranking through a workout with no pre-workout or nothing. I'm just like rocking it. If I'm awake, what's the point of sitting there tossing and turning, man? I need to get up and get going. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Get up there.
Well, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. If you've got, a 10-hour work day, then you've got the commute to pick up your kids. There's 12 hours gone, dropping them off, taking them. And then, you've got your workout, you've got your cardio, and then you want your time with your family and with your kids. Yeah. Something has to give. But, whenever you can, that's why I always tell people it isn't always the quantity of the sleep, it's the quality of the sleep. So that's why I get people, wear the blue light blocking glasses, make sure that you're away from your phone, for a good hour before bed, because that does stimulate dopamine. We want melatonin to release at that time to lull you to sleep, because, you don't recover, you don't perform at the end of the day.
Yeah. I did take, you suggested to put the phone away at what is it, 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You wanted me in bed at 9, and I tried to get there. That was my target every day. But I did try to put the phone away as often as I could. And it did help shunning all electronics and just coming down off the electronic buzz for the day.
That's the biggest thing, because our environment is very different to what our ancestors were. Our ancestors would have like a campfire, and then they would go to sleep.
Oh man,
they didn't have an artificial light penetrating their retina, telling their brain it's daylight. Cortisol levels need to be up because you need to be alert just in case you're going to get hunted by something. But we're not being hunted by anything. We've just got this artificial light, thinking that blue light is coming from the sun, but it isn't. That's why we've got to kind of block it and shut down in order to get that quality of sleep,
Yeah, I stare at two computer screens all day long. I probably should invest in some of the blue blocking things and all that, the glasses and everything.
You definitely should. You definitely should. There's no doubt about it. I'll wear the yellow lens most of the day. If I do need to see colors on the computer, then I'll wear the clear. The clear lets in a little bit more blue light. You've got to have some blue light during the day, because our cortisol levels are supposed to be slightly elevated during the day. So that's why I'll wear the yellow lens. It lets in some of the blue light. But then in the evening, that's for about 2 hours. That's when the red lens goes on, and that blocks all artificial light. It takes a while to get used to, because you're red and you're seeing yellow, but you get used to it after a while. Sometimes if I go to a movie, which is very rare, in the evening, then, I want to see the colors, and I'm like, bollocks, I'll just not wear the glasses today,
Right. Yeah. It's crazy, man. All the technology and how it impacts us like that,
Yeah, we cannot avoid it completely, but we can definitely control, that environment to a certain degree, and that's what we've got to do. So thank you very much for your time here. It's been absolutely awesome chatting with you. Is there anything that you would like to add here? And if anybody would like to contact you as well, how they can reach out and maybe ask you questions?
Yeah, absolutely. What I would say is just, if you're thinking about making this move, challenge yourself. That's what I did. I was like, I'm going to see what I can do here. You know what I mean? I don't have a goal of being huge bodybuilder or anything, but I want to be lean, cut, strong. Just challenge yourself. If you really want to go and do it, man. You will not regret it one bit. I am here to tell you, I was that guy, like I said before, on the couch, eating candy. I'd eat half the pizzas. When I went through all my work with Kris here, dude, my confidence was through the roof. I felt great. It changed my life. So I would just say, challenge yourself and go for it, man. If people want to reach out to me, I have Instagram. My Instagram is at WickedDano, all one word. There's 2 D's, Wicked, and then Dano, D-A-N-O. So it's at WickedDano. I think I have a Twitter out there. I don't play around a whole lot on Twitter.
And we'll make sure that we put that in the show notes as well. So if people want to hit you up and ask you any questions in regards to, what you've been through and how that could possibly help someone else, we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I wanted to say too is, like, you can keep all the meal prep simple. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole day long of cooking food. Like for me, I got to keep it simple. So I relied on organic riced cauliflower, riced broccoli all the time. I was always getting riced cauliflower from Costco, organic. And dude, you put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, you can mix it, right in with the meat and whatever you're having, boom, you got like a little casserole. Frank's hot sauce, which was on the, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this Frank's hot sauce. And first the eggs were really kind of hard for me to eat, but then I was like, let's try this Frank's hot sauce on there. Boom, dude. I'm addicted to it now. I eat it every single day. We got Frank's hot sauce over here. My wife laughs at me because I'll just be like wolfing these egg whites down. Like, I'm just like, boom, like it's so good.
It's amazing when you have a little bit of Frank sauce or Cholula.
Yeah.
It changed things up. I totally agree. I've got that stacked in my fridge as well.
Yeah, but you can keep it simple is all I'm trying to say is you don't have to make it real overcomplicated and, take up a whole lot of time. But those are just 2 tips that I would suggest.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that because a lot of people think, I've got to have so many ingredients like you look in a cookbook in order for this to taste good. No, we just keep it very simple. Yeah. But of course, you want it flavorful as well. You want some herbs, some peppers, some salt on there, some Frank's hot sauce, then no problem. You want some syrup on your pancakes or your oatmeal? Sure.
Yep. I get that Redmond's real salt too, man. That's good shit. I mean, I got this stack you see here. This is nothing compared to what's in my pantry, dude, and what I just ordered yesterday. So like, I appreciate all you have done, man, with this supplement line. This gives me peace of mind because we talked before about all the shit that's in the food, right? And I would see these acronyms. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So like, I know I can trust this. I trust you. It worked. The program worked, man. Thank you very much for helping me achieve that goal.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. And it was an absolute pleasure training you and just especially seeing you climb Mount Hood. Yeah. That's just scratching that itch that you needed to get scratched.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your time here, Dan. This is the Kris Gethin podcast that you've been listening to. If you do like this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube and if you do have any questions, please ask them in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. So from myself and Dan, we are out. Thank you ever so much for listening. My name is Kris Gethin and I am out.